Hi, I'm Jena Frey Kirk. I'm one of the mental health therapists at the Penn State Altoona Health and Wellness Center, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit today about getting better sleep. And so I decided to dress for the occasion. I know a lot of people are kind of wearing their pajamas to work, but I actually put on pajamas today as part of my job. So here I am. I'm not super flexible. This also isn't a yoga video, so you're gonna have to just take my word for it that I actually have a full-on onesie with footy pajamas here. And I even brought, this is Pauline. This is a teddy bear named after my grandmother who gave it to me. And I slept with her from ages 2 to 26, no joke. Used her as a pillow, which is why she's pretty flat and has no stuffing, but she lives under my bed now, doesn't really sleep with me anymore, but I thought she should probably make a guest appearance on a video on sleep. So we'll just set her right here for now. So I want to just preface this by saying I'm not a sleep expert, but I am a sleep enthusiast. I love sleep. I really try and get good sleep myself, and I really feel pretty passionate about helping other people to get better sleep as well. So as my role as a mental health therapist at Penn State Altoona, I have a lot of students that come in and talk about sleep issues, not getting enough sleep, feeling really tired, staying up late, having trouble getting into a good routine. And so I really enjoy talking about this topic and helping people to hopefully get some better sleep. So I hope that just even a few of the things that I talk about today end up being helpful for you as well. So you may be asking yourself, okay, what's the point? Why would it be so important to make some changes in my life to get better sleep? And studies show there are actually some pretty significant benefits to getting good sleep. So this includes alleviating stress, depression, and anxiety, improving attention, memory, and academic performance, increasing your mood, motivation, optimism, and energy. And it also helps to improve physical health. So it can help reduce cravings for food, especially junk food and substances. It strengthens your immune system and accelerates recovery from injury and illness. So as you kind of think through the benefits of good sleep, I think especially relevant right now, as we're really trying to deal with a lot of stress and transitions, and then also trying to finish the semester well academically, and then just trying to stay healthy, trying to stay physically healthy and mentally healthy. And so definitely, I think, always a good topic to focus on, but certainly right now with everything that we're dealing with. And you know, some of you coming from living on campus or near campus and then maybe moving back home or to a different location might be experiencing some pretty major sleep issues, just different location, dealing with a lot of stress and transition. And so I hope this is helpful for you. And then some of you might actually be getting better sleep since maybe moving away from campus, maybe not being crammed in a dorm room with a whole bunch of roommates or in an apartment. Maybe it's a little bit easier to get sleep and to get into a routine while you're home, and that's great. I hope you still get some good things out of this video as well. So as we go through, I basically have categorized our strategies that we're going to talk about into two different categories. So one is just creating a relaxing sleeping environment, and the other is establishing a relaxing sleeping routine. So as we kind of go through, they're going to fall into these two categories. And I am going to cover a lot of information in this video, and what I don't want is for you to feel overwhelmed. Please don't feel like you need to just do every single thing that I talk about in this video. What I would recommend is maybe picking one or two specific strategies that you really want to focus on for the next week or two and just give them a try. Really be intentional committing to them. And then if those don't work for you, you can always try a different one. And so again, I just want it to be helpful, not overwhelming. So we'll kind of jump right in. So that first category of tips is creating that relaxing sleeping environment. And I think a lot of us, myself included, just kind of expect to go through our days and like go, you know, hang out with people, do homework, do school, spend time with family, and then jump into bed and go to sleep. And you can have probably experienced that's just not how our brains and bodies work. And so we actually need to be able to cue our brains and bodies for sleep. We actually have to prepare for sleep ahead of time. instead of expecting it to happen on demand. And so a lot of these strategies really focus on giving your brain and body specific cues that they come to associate with sleep. And so that is a big part of things. And so it's actually a whole process of getting ready to go to sleep. So with that in mind, kind of jumping into this creating relaxing sleeping environment, the first thing that I would recommend is having some comfortable PJs, like something that you actually specifically wear to bed. Now, obviously, like I said, I'm in my nice onesie today. Confession, that is not normally what I sleep in. I would get way too hot for one thing. But I do have like a whole specific stack of really soft t-shirts and athletic shorts that I do wear to bed, and they're specifically for sleeping. They're my pajamas. That's what I use specifically for it. And so I recommend putting on whatever your pajamas are 30 minutes before you're actually ready to go to sleep. So already you're kind of cueing your brain and body of like, oh, I'm in my PJs now. I'm getting ready to start to get ready to go to sleep. And along with that, I've had students say, yeah, I just like go, and then I just jump into bed and they don't even like change clothes, like they're in the clothes they wore all day. So I really do recommend having specific PJs that you wear. But then I also recommend, and I know this is really tempting right now, when you get up in the mornings, changing out of your PJs. And I know that that's very tempting to stay in your PJs all day. And even if it's changing into like really relaxing clothes, I don't care if it's sweats or something else that's really relaxing. But again, we're trying to separate the clothes that you wear to bed from the clothes that you wear throughout your day. So again, it's kind of cueing your brain to be ready to go to sleep. Second big thing would be to reduce light in the space that you're going to sleep in. And so our brains definitely associate light with being awake and alert, and dark with like kind of winding down and going to sleep. And so that means making sure, if possible, that you have blinds and even blackout curtains over windows would be really good. Making sure that you're turning off all of the lights in the space that you're sleeping in. And that would include electronics and screens, which we're going to get to in a little bit. But really trying to create a darker space. If you can't like completely control that, I'm obviously wearing an eye mask here right now. Super cheap on Amazon, and so definitely worth the investment if you're having trouble kind of creating a darker space, to at least have something that kind of blocks light and can help you fall asleep. Kind of along similar lines, reducing external noise that might keep you awake. So one thing that I have here are earplugs, super cheap. I've definitely used them before. I have a lot of students that talk about, oh, I hate earplugs. They fall out, they feel uncomfortable, and that's fine. I get that for sure. But make sure that you're using them properly too. And so these are like little foam ones here, and so you actually want to twist them. Things I never thought I'd be doing is doing an earplug video right now, but here we are. You want to twist it and stick it in your ear, and then let it expand. Because they're foam, they actually will expand and fill your ear, and so they can really help to block noise, and it helps them to stay in better as well. And just obviously don't jam it into your ear. You don't want to cause any sort of damage to your ear. And now I can't hear as well because it did just fill up my ear. So these can, very cost effective, really cheap, really recommend as a starting point if you're having trouble blocking noise. Also highly recommend, I've got a sound machine here, and so it plays like a white noise sound. I'm not going to turn it on because it'll just like blast the sound in here, but it's just like a nice background kind of like fan sounding noise, and it's been a game changer for me in terms of sleeping. So definitely could invest in one of those if you wanted to. If you don't want to invest and you have like a fan already, fans are great for white noise, but there are also a lot of really free apps that I love. One personally that I love that I'll mention a couple times today is the Calm app. Has a lot of nature sounds and just really relaxing sounds that you can play on your phone and fall asleep to. The other one that I love is a white noise app. It's literally called White Noise, also free, has tons of different white noise. My personal favorite, and this is true confession here, is a dishwasher. Something about the sound of a dishwasher just like instantly puts me to sleep. And I know that sounds bizarre, but it must not be totally bizarre because it is on the White Noise app. So another free app if you want just like a white noise to kind of block out things. And then also for some people, just like soft instrumental, like mellow music can be helpful. For me, that's a little difficult because even without words, I tend to get really focused on the music and into it, and then my mind's kind of focused on that and I have trouble falling asleep. But for a lot of people, just like that soft instrumental music can be really helpful. So certainly give that a try if you're someone that might be the case for. And then definitely keeping the temperature in the room that you're sleeping at a cooler level. We've probably all experienced what it's like to be super hot and trying to fall asleep or stay asleep. It's pretty miserable and pretty hard. So definitely want to keep it at a cooler level, whether that means like if you have air conditioning, if you have a fan, if you can open a window, you can always like put some layers on or you know, throw some blankets on and be cozier, but definitely want to start at that cooler temperature and then add some layers if you need to help you fall asleep. And then throughout this presentation, I've got what I would call my most unpopular suggestions, and this is unpopular suggestion number 1, but really important, is using your bed solely to sleep. And the reason I say this is unpopular is when I bring this up with students, they're always, especially when they're on campus, they're like, oh my goodness, I live in this little tiny dorm room, or I live in this tiny apartment bedroom, or I share with like 3 other people. The bed is like the only place where I can watch TV, be on my phone, do homework, eat sometimes. And I totally hear you on that. But kind of think about, especially if you've moved into a different living space now, really try and test this out. And it goes back to exactly what I've talked about already in terms of, you know, your brain associates things with sleep. And so if you're doing all these other activities in your bed and then you expect to get into bed and in your mind to be like, oh, this is where I sleep, it can be really confusing for your brain. And so if you're solely sleeping in your bed, then as soon as you get into bed, it's already telling your brain, oh, this is time to sleep right now. So it can be really helpful. And be creative, you know, even if your bedroom is small, if you want to watch TV or you want to do homework, or you want to, like, maybe you have a chair that you could do that in, or a desk, or even on the floor, or another room. And so I really encourage you to try and be creative and to really make your bed a sleep-only zone, just to kind of help trigger to your brain that, oh, I'm in bed, this is time for me to sleep. So I think we're now ready to move into the second category of tips, which is establishing relaxing bedtime routine. And so right off the bat, I've got unpopular suggestion number 2. Again, I have a lot of students that like to fight me on this one. And again, take it with a grain of salt, but it can be really helpful to improve sleep. And that is trying to maintain a pretty regular bedtime every night. And that would include weekends too. And so again, this all goes back to kind of training your brain to sleep better and your body to sleep better. And so in terms of what that looks like for me, I know I'm old and not a college student, but my normal bedtime on the weekdays is like 10:30. And so around 10 o'clock, I, am getting ready to start my bedtime routine, which we'll talk about in just a second. And then on the weekends, like, I want to be reasonable here. And so for me, I might stay up till 11. I'm still trying to keep close to that bedtime so that my brain's not getting completely off kilter when then I try and go back into like my weekday sleep routine. So, I mean, even within a half hour is better than like 3 or 4 hour differences, because I know it's really tempting right now, especially with not having to go to classes in person, to like maybe stay up till 2 a.m. one night because you don't have classes until like 1 p.m. the next day, and then like sleeping, but then maybe the next day you do have an earlier class and you have to be up at 9. And so again, your brain and body are just not getting a chance to get into any sort of a rhythm because it's constantly trying to reset. And so that's where kind of setting a consistent bedtime, like regardless of what your next day is going to look like, and really trying to stick to that can be super helpful, and trying to keep within those bounds a little bit. So, and then next I would say really personalizing your bedtime routine. Like I said, 30 minutes is kind of a magic number with a lot of this. Whatever time you want to be in bed falling asleep, I would say start your bedtime routine about 30 minutes before. So I already mentioned maybe putting your PJs on and maybe just having like a set hygiene routine and bedtime routine that you're doing every single night, again, because then your brain associates that with sleep. And so putting on your PJs, maybe brushing your teeth, washing your face, whatever that hygiene kind of looks like for you, I would definitely recommend. And then kind of incorporating at least one like relaxing activity that you're doing consistently every night as part of your bedtime routine. So I'm going to go through a whole bunch of ones here, and don't try and do all of them, because that will you'll be up till 2 a.m. just trying to fit them all in. Kind of pick one or two and have that be your set routine that you do every night. And like I said, experiment. Pick one, try it out. If that one's not working for you after a week or two, maybe try a different one. I'm going to start with my all-time favorite, which is reading. So I even brought the book that I'm reading right now, C.S. Lewis Signature Classics here. Obviously a dense book. There's a couple different books within it. And it is dry, I'll be honest with you. And so I did that intentionally. I love Agatha Christie books, which are mysteries, but those are not good books for me to try and read right before I go to sleep, because then I'm just like page turning and don't want to fall asleep. So something that's kind of light, that's not going to keep you page turning, and kind of set a time of maybe 15 minutes, 3 or 4 pages. And honestly, by the time I get through 3 or 4 pages, I'm like ready to fall asleep. And so that's my bedtime routine, or my relaxing activity I do every night after I've gotten ready for bed and gotten into bed, and the last thing that I'm doing before I fall asleep. I talk to a lot of students that are like, I hate reading, and that's okay. No judgment there. You actually have some really good alternatives. One of my favorites is audiobooks. There is a reason that, we read bedtime stories to kids to help them fall asleep at night. And I think, hearing someone else read can be one of the most relaxing, falling asleep type of things that I've experienced. So audiobooks, I recommend, if you're a member of a library, a lot of times they do free audiobook access that you can rent or borrow. If you're not a member of a local library, this would be a great time to do it, especially if they have the audiobooks, that you could rent one and just listen to maybe 15 minutes a night. Or back to that Calm app that I mentioned, they have bedtime stories for kids and adults. I've listened and fallen asleep to both kinds, and they're really wonderful. And so again, if you're not into reading, I think definitely listening to someone else read can be super relaxing and can really promote some good sleep. So I highly recommend that. You could also do some stretching or yoga before you go to sleep, kind of relaxing your body, kind of focusing your mind a little bit. So if you're already into yoga, maybe just doing a few, maybe a 10-15 minute yoga routine. Another free resource that I love is Fitness Blender. It's a free website, and then you can access it via your phone or laptop or whatever. They have hundreds of free workout videos. It's what I've been doing most mornings since I started working from home. So great workout videos, all different kinds. But then you can filter by stretching or yoga videos, and they actually have a video that specifically is for bedtime stretching that helps you to get really relaxed and fall asleep. So Fitness Blender, great website. I'm going to talk about working out before you go to bed in just a few minutes. So I don't recommend a full workout, but if you're just doing a short stretching or yoga routine, can be really relaxing before bed. Like I mentioned before, relaxing music or nature sounds. So again, if you have instrumental music or you want to listen to 15 minutes of calm nature sounds. Now I will say that should be the only thing you're doing. You shouldn't be watching TV or on your phone or doing some other activity. Literally, if that's your relaxing activity, is listening to instrumental music or nature sounds, you should probably be in bed, laying down, eyes closed, just really focusing on the music. And I definitely wouldn't recommend your favorite band or something that's really pump up. You would want something that you're just really relaxing and listening to. Meditation is another great one. Going back to Calm app again, it has lots of good meditations on there. And then another really great free app is Insight Timer. So even just taking 5 minutes to kind of do a short meditation, to do some deep breathing, that type of thing can be really great. If you're really new to the meditation game, I really recommend Jessica Mock's video on this exact same YouTube channel. She did a whole meditation video and leads you through that, and did a fantastic job. And so definitely would encourage you to check that out if you're kind of new to the meditation game and want to try that out. Other kind of activities that you could do is maybe journal. And so I have my journal right here, nice big J on there. I say that it's for Jena, but honestly I think it's for journal, and I just never took the sticker off that came with it. But journaling can be really great just to kind of like, you know, jot down a few things from your day, kind of that traditional journaling before you get into bed. Or if you're someone that when you try and go to sleep and you get into bed, your mind starts to race and you start to worry and you think about everything you need to do, which tends to be me sometimes, you can actually use a journal as kind of what we call a mind dump. And so what that means is before you get into bed, you kind of just set a time limit, maybe like 10-15 minutes, and you just journal down anything you're worried about. You journal down any unfinished tasks. You just write that all down in a journal and you have it there. And then it's on paper, and so it doesn't have to keep whirling in your mind. And so then it kind of gives you space to then kind of focus your mind and be able to fall asleep. So that can be a really good one as well. Taking a warm bath or a shower can be super helpful and relaxing. If you want to drink some like caffeine-free tea, this is actually from one of my dear coworkers, Veronica. She gave this to me shortly before we started working from home, and it's a whole thing of caffeine-free tea. We'll talk about caffeine in a few minutes here too, so definitely want it to be caffeine-free. But again, similar to the music, if that's your relaxation activity, then it should literally be you sitting in a chair with a mug, sipping some tea, not doing anything else, not watching TV, not, you know, this is like you being really mindful and kind of present and kind of getting into a relaxed state. And then lastly, just some different focusing activities that can still be fun for you, but can be relaxing and kind of help you get into a calmer state of mind. So things that I kind of thought of were like crossword puzzles. They require a little bit of focus, but not too much. They make adult connect the dots that are a lot more challenging than kids. So I'm kind of showcasing again my talents here. This is, I don't know if you can tell, that's a cat, but this is a whole dot to dot book for adults. Cost me literally like a few dollars on Amazon, and they're so much fun, but they really help you to kind of concentrate and get focused and kind of get into a relaxed state of mind. Sudoku is another great one if you're into that. Again, just some coloring. I mean, kind of tapping into your child self a little bit. So this is for my adult coloring book. I figured it was kind of appropriate for Easter. So again, here I am showcasing my amazing artistic talents here, but can be another great thing to kind of do, maybe doing some doodling, all of these before you get into bed, and all of these physical things, again, not on your phone or on a laptop or something. And again, we'll talk about that actually right now. So this, let's talk a little bit about what is not relaxing and will probably not help you to fall asleep right before you are going to bed. And number one thing is screens. And you could have guessed that. I'm sure you've heard it before. And I say this is my most unpopular suggestion when it comes to sleep. But I think it is really helpful. When I say screens, we're talking what you would think of. So TVs, laptops, phones, tablets, what you would think of. And you've probably heard this before, but I think it's really helpful to kind of know the science behind it. And I'm like, okay, if everybody's saying this is really bad for sleep, like why are they saying that? And so just in case you didn't know, here's your little tidbit for today. So they emit blue light, and the reason that actually makes sleep more difficult is that inhibits our melatonin production, which is the hormone that our body naturally produces that helps regulate our sleep and wake cycle. And so when we're exposing ourselves to that blue light right before we go to sleep, it's keeping that melatonin from being produced, which then makes it really difficult to fall asleep and stay asleep. So I want to be, realistic here. And again, like I said, out of any of my suggestions, I get the most pushback from students, and I get it. And so I'm not trying to be ridiculous and say, hey, 4 hours before you go to sleep, turn all of your electronics off. try a half hour. Like I said, that 30-minute time zone is really the magic number here for us. And so 30 minutes before you want to actually go to sleep. So again, with my example, if I go to sleep at 10:30, then around 10 o'clock, I watch TV every single night. I watch it right up until 10 o'clock, and then I kind of say, okay, now we're going into the screen-free zone because I'm getting ready to go to sleep. And so then I start my bedtime routine, you know, like we talked about. I put my pajamas on, I get ready for bed, like brush my teeth, wash my face, and then I get into bed and do my reading. So that taking that extra 30 minutes to turn off all screens is then when you can incorporate your relaxing activity, whichever one you decide to do. Last things that are probably not super relaxing or going to help you fall asleep, caffeine, like we talked about just a few minutes ago. Most of us probably know caffeine is a stimulant. Recommendation is to not consume caffeine after 2 o'clock p.m. So I know that can be really hard for people that like their afternoon coffee, but I would really challenge you, especially if you're having trouble falling asleep, to just try kind of cutting yourself off at 2 o'clock and seeing what difference that makes. Also, regular exercise helps sleep, but not right before you go to bed. So if you're regularly exercising during the day, it actually helps you to fall asleep and stay asleep better at night, because you're kind of using your body well and you're actually ready for sleep at night. But 2 to 3 hours before, you're releasing a lot of chemicals into your brain that can feel good, and they're kind of energizing and exciting and great if you need to get going throughout your day, but not great if you're trying to get ready to go to sleep in an hour or two. So, and then also alcohol. If you're of age and you're kind of consuming alcohol close to bedtime, that actually can really disrupt, you know, you waking up more frequently during the night. And so just keep that in mind too, that, you know, if you're having a lot of trouble staying asleep, especially alcohol consumption before bed or even a few hours before bed can really contribute to that. So, like I said, I just covered a ton of material. Thanks for watching. Please don't be overwhelmed. Pick one or two, be intentional with them, try them out. Don't try and incorporate every single thing I talked about today, and just kind of see how it goes for you. And if some of those strategies aren't working, then maybe try and do a different strategy. And so I feel like I'm gonna get a good night's sleep after running through all of that with you today. I certainly hope you do too. My true hope is that you'll soon be getting a good night's sleep like my trusty sidekick here, Gordo. If anyone knows how to snooze, it's definitely him, so I apologize here, but I think this is probably worth seeing. So I'm gonna show you him here now. So this is Gordo. He's been sleeping throughout my presentation on getting better sleep, so it seemed only appropriate to include him in this video as a guest appearance. And speaking of appearance, I do apologize for his rather ratty appearance right now. I will be attempting to cut his fur. Oh, I made him embarrassed. Attempting to cut his fur this weekend, so maybe stay tuned to a future segment from me entitled How Not to Groom Your Own Pet, but desperate times do call for desperate measures. So I thank you for watching this video. Gordo thanks you for watching. I do hope that some of it is helpful in getting better sleep. Thanks.